You're listening to Seattle Real Estate Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Sean Reynolds. I'm the owner of Summer Properties Northwest, Reynolds & Kline Appraisal, and your host of this episode, the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. Everybody knows that's kind of in business, that follows business. Seattle-based Boeing is not having a good time. They are not doing well financially, having to lay off a ton of people. It's because people aren't traveling. Airlines don't need airplanes right now. They're going the other way. They're selling airplanes. So we don't need planes being made by Boeing. So how bad are Boeing's cash flow issues? Well, just came to light that they are selling the corporate yacht. Not the yacht. Yep, selling the yacht. So, and the storyline is this is how bad their cash flow is. They're selling the yacht. Maybe this is a decision that they've been planning on for a while. Maybe the boat's getting kind of old. Maybe they want to upgrade. Who knows? But right now, I think all airplane manufacturers and airlines, they're kind of selling stuff to release cash to get them from point A to point B, which is when the airline industry recovers, like 2023, 2024, maybe somewhere in there, because airline industry is decimated right now. So what we're also going to be talking about is not only Boeing selling their corporate yacht, but is what they will look like. What does Boeing's outlook look like in a year from now? Got an article on that as well. So let's jump on into it. Struggling plane maker Boeing has reportedly sold its 130-foot corporate super yacht, Daedalus, is that correct? Daedalus for $13 million. $13 million seems like a lot for a boat, but for a big publicly traded company like Boeing, that's not that crazy. I look at yachts all the time in the $3, $4, $5 million range, and they're big and they're super nice boats. And yeah, they're good sized yachts, but $13 million just isn't a lot of money. That seems like a bargain for what this boat is. But then again, it is also older, and we don't know its actual condition because the guy who bought it without a survey. It's like buying a home right now in Seattle without a building inspection. It's going on, but a little different with the boat because you need a survey because boats have lots of maintenance issues, lots and lots of maintenance issues. But let's jump on in here. Boeing has sold its corporate yacht Daedalus for around $13 million, Puget Sound Business Journal reported this week. An unnamed California real estate developer bought the yacht, sources told the Journal. This comes just after a week after the aircraft giant reported its fourth straight quarterly loss and announced thousands of job cuts. Done a bunch of podcasts on that. They're blading jobs. Is it going to wreck the Seattle market? No, because all those jobs basically just get sucked up by other tech sectors. That's what we got going on. The yacht was built in 1997 by luxury builder Delta Marine and is moored at Nautical Landing on Lake Union, Washington. So that is the 2500 block of Westlake Avenue North, South Lake Union. It's close to downtown Seattle. Boeing used the 130-foot yacht to entertain its corporate customers. During summer months, the yacht often served as a floating hotel at Vancouver Island, the Journal reported, and the company used it for fishing trips and private meetings with clients. So if you're at Boeing and you got a trip on the corporate yacht, you knew that you were in the upper echelons of Boeing employee privilege, right? Did you make it on the yacht? No, I've never been on the yacht. I did. I went on like an afternoon fishing trip on it once. Does that happen? I went on an afternoon cruise on it, I guess is what would happen with a yacht this size. During the winter, the yacht hosted formal dinners, which were bid for at charity auctions. Okay. Little charity action going on there. The Puget Sound Business Journal didn't name the developer who bought the yacht, but reported that he will spend 5 months modifying it before taking it to San Diego, where he owns a 112-foot luxury motor yacht. And this is 130-foot. So, I mean, it's a big boat, but it's not enormous. I think super yachts, those start at 270 feet, something like that. So this is definitely it's more than a mini yacht. I forget those classifications, but they actually have names. So when you see super yacht, mini yacht, all that, those are real things. People in the yachting world, they take their name seriously. The buyer also bought an 80-foot fishing yacht to accompany the Daedalus, sources told the publication. So 80 foot, that's still a big, big boat. This summer here in Seattle, Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, had his boat that was named after his wife, and it was a monster. I can't remember if it was 340 feet, something like that, but a big, big boat. And then one of his smaller mini yachts showed up at a bay that I had my boat at for an afternoon in the hot summer months of Seattle summer. And it was, I don't know, it was probably a 50-foot boat, 60-foot boat, something like that. But it had some of the Cowboys on it. It was kind of cool to see. So when you got your big yacht, you got to have a smaller yacht to go with it. That's just what these guys are doing. Boeing told the Business Insider that it had no comment on the deal. No comment. How's that cash sale, $13 million of your yacht doing? No comment. The company has been hard hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has ground air travel to a near halt and forced airlines to cut costs. No surprise there, right? Boeing has also spent money returning its 737 MAX jets to service following their 19-month worldwide ban triggered by 2 fatal accidents. So you have a couple of double whammies there for Boeing. You've got the 736 MAX jets that have been a no-go for a long time. And then you've got the coronavirus with the shutdown and nobody traveling and nobody buying airplanes. And I think podcast I did was that in 2020, they'd had a loss of 1,000 existing orders of jets. Companies calling them up and saying, that jet that we've got on back order, no longer need it. That happened over 1,000 times. Last week, Boeing said it expected staff numbers to fall to 130,000. That's what they're going to be employing by the end of 2021, which would be a near 20% drop in headcount from the start of the year. And so here in Seattle, when we start talking about, sorry, I banged the microphone. Here in Seattle, when we start talking about employment loss from Boeing, everybody gets all worked up because Boeing used to be a huge employer in the Puget Sound area. They're not as much anymore. And in real estate, when we hear Boeing's losing people, we just kind of shrug it off now and are like, all right, but the market's still going to go on. You still got thousands of tech companies here that are doing their thing that will probably absorb whatever jobs that Boeing sheds. And so we've got this real mixture of a market that is transitioning so heavily towards the tech side. And last one in Seattle, turn out the lights. That is really no longer the case when Boeing sheds a whole bunch of jobs. It just doesn't happen. Boeing recorded a $466 million loss in the quarter to September, making it the 4th straight quarterly loss for the aircraft giant. So a $13 million yacht, you got a $466 million quarterly loss. It's a drop in the bucket, right? But with a boat like that, they're probably analyzing it going, we'll get one when times are better. Right now, we need to sell this one because maintenance is something that we don't want to afford right now. It's a cash flow problem, and having this yacht on the books does not look good to the shareholders. When times are better, we'll re-up. We'll get a bigger yacht, better yacht. But that's when times are better, and that's not what's happening right now. So let's now take a look and see what somebody is projecting Boeing to look like in a year from now. And so I've got an interesting article here, and it's from the Motley Fool. And where will Boeing be in 1 year? Boeing faces a long recovery up ahead, but how much progress will it make in 1 year's time? Boeing shareholders have endured a miserable year, with the stock losing about half of its value in 2020 due to pandemic-related fears and issues with one of its most important aircraft. We just talked about that. The company has an impressive portfolio of assets and is unlikely to remain down forever. Yet the challenges Boeing faces aren't easily solved. Here's a look at near-term outlook for Boeing to try and figure out what the company might look like a year from now. The 737 MAX should be airborne again. Boeing's troubles date back to the March 2019 grounding of the 737 MAX following a pair of fatal accidents. The plane has not been recertified to fly, and it's costing Boeing millions per day. Boeing has burnt through more than $15 billion in the first 9 months of 2020, thanks in large part to costs associated with keeping the 737 supply chain afloat and customers happy, as well as maintaining the more than 400 planes that have been built but not yet delivered during the grounding. Talk about cash flow issues. No wonder they're selling the yacht. That is horrible. After a series of missed internal deadlines, it appears the 737 MAX will fly before year's end, before the 2020 is over. That's pivotal to the bull case for Boeing, because as deliveries resume, some of the expenses will go away and Boeing will begin to generate cash from the airplane again. But even after the plane is flying again, it might never be the bestseller Boeing had originally hoped it would be. Prior to the grounding, Boeing had hoped to be manufacturing more than 55 737 MAX planes per month by now, but the company will make fewer than 80 in all of 2020 and currently expects production to gradually ramp up to 31 per month by the beginning of 2022. So they're hoping to get there. They don't know. Will the demand be there? Not sure. They've still got a big back order of jets. It's just they can't get them out the door, and they've got these ones grounded. Tough time for airline industries like Boeing and Airbus. But will it still be a tough market for airplane sales in a year? Well, the 737 MAX wounded Boeing. It was COVID-19 that really sunk the stock. Airlines have been among the sector's hardest hit by the pandemic, and it will be years before carriers are focused on growth again. Boeing is preparing for the worst. The company has slashed its 10-year demand forecast, cut production plans, sold its corporate yacht, and is consolidating production of its once hot-selling Dreamliner to one facility. And that is in South Carolina, I believe. Boeing intends to shed more than 30,000 employees by the end of 2021, nearly 20% of its total headcount heading into 2020. Even as demand returns, Boeing's lineup is not well suited for what airlines are likely to want to buy. With smaller planes expected to be the focus through the middle part of the decade, arch rival Airbus should do well selling the 100 to 150 foot seat A220, a plane it acquired from Bombardier in 2018. Boeing's plan to counter the A220, buying control of the commercial air operation of Embraer and gaining access to Embraer's similarly sized E2 jet, fell apart in the early stages of the pandemic. The company's sales team will instead have to push the 737 MAX, which is larger and more expensive, and will be trying to rebound from post-grounding reputational damage. So all this has just been brutal for Boeing. And everybody here in Seattle knows somebody that works for Boeing, has some kind of connection to Boeing, and it's just been this one thing after another that's just kind of putting it down. So where will Boeing be in November 2021, a year from now? If nothing else, we know Boeing will be around a year from now. That sounds glib, but before the company raised $25 billion to shore up its liquidity back in April, there was some reason for concern. Didn't know if they'd make it. Didn't know if they'd make it through the Rona, but they've raised that kind of capital, $25 billion. We also know, based on Boeing's own forecast of production revisions, that the business will not have recovered in a year's time. Still going to be upside down. Still not making money. But, I mean, when you have a global pandemic and you're one of the largest airplane manufacturers in the world, this is not surprising news. It's going to take a while for this to turn around. For investors, the question is whether Boeing will be far enough along in a recovery a year from now to make the stock worth buying into. I doubt that will be the case. All right, well, let's see how far down it goes. See if that's maybe an opportunity. Some people will be buying it for sure. Boeing doesn't expect a free cash flow to turn positive before 2022, a testament to how long it expects to take to work through its 737 MAX inventory and for production to begin to normalize. The company also has more than $60 billion in debt, nearly 6 times what it had just a few years ago. Its defense business will help cushion a blow from commercial, but Boeing cannot return to its pre-pandemic size and strength until commercial is doing much of the heavy lifting. That's their main gig. They do have all these other divisions, but Boeing makes airplanes, and the commercial airline industry is not doing well. I have flown once since the Rona, and that was a questionable thing to do anyway. I flew down to Arizona right before Arizona kind of did their second shutdown. And it was a little hairy knowing you're getting on an airplane with strangers. And we've got all the cases. I think we had the biggest single day case here in the state of Washington yesterday of like 1,467 new cases. It's not a time to be flying. I think that's what a lot of people are saying is, I'd love to go on a vacation, but I just don't really want to go through that process of traveling and maybe catching the Rona. because nobody wants the Rona. So if you're on South Lake Union here in Seattle, you can check out Boeing's yacht that's going to be modified for the next few months. And some guy from California is going to get an amazing yacht that used to be owned by Boeing, and he's going to float it down to San Diego, and it'll be one of those many mega yachts down in San Diego. So that's all I've got on this one. But as more stories kind of keep coming out on Boeing, because Boeing's local here in Seattle, and it does have an impact on things. It's just not as significant as it used to be here locally. But as those stories come out, I will keep you posted. I will let you know right here on the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye for now. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you'll know when our next video is out.